We had our struggles down here, you'd go into the bars and they're like, we got all the kinds of beer. Coors Light, Bud Light, Miller Lite.
Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is Cee Certified Brewhead, and welcome to episode 107 of Beer Now, the podcast. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are in gorgeous, mountainous Colorado, Durango to be specific, at Ska Brewing with Joe and Arlo. Gentlemen, thank you very much for hanging out. Appreciate it. This place is awesome. It's huge. We got mountains out the window. It's a good time. It's a good time out here. So what we'll do before we get into the beer stories, guys, let's crack something. What shall we start with?
We probably should start light. Probably Mexican lager.
Let's do it up.
Just crash your palate before.
Perfect. Tell us about this one.
This is Mexican style lager. Fairly easy drinking. I'll let you pour your own.
Thanks.
I'm not a server.
Damn. Savage. Thank you.
Super light style Mexican lager. Funny story is, years ago we were all packaging and Dave came out of the office and said there was a yeast strain on sale. He's like, we should make a Mexican lager. And obviously it's a kind of play on words. Got a
Totally. Some sauce.
Mexican guy with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
So he's a Mexican lager.
I love it.
/ lager.
It's perfect. I noticed these a lot in the States. It's very cool. Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Super light, super easy. Sometimes we'll put lime in it the whole bit.
Do you guys add lime in this at all? Nice.
We don't put lime in it,
let
but
people
garnish.
People
People
like they
garnish.
want
Gotcha.
to
Is that still looked down upon at all for this type of beer?
Probably.
So
We do it here though. For anybody who orders a pint, it'll automatically come with one. But the whole lemons and hefe controversy and stuff, we don't really have that here.
It's pretty chill about it.
Yeah, and we don't even have a hefe, so it only comes up with this beer.
And it's probably more because then people will ask for it, so we just put it there. If you don't want it, don't use it.
All right.
Yeah.
Smart.
Instead
I
of
like
having
that.
20 people come back and ask for a lime. For
Right?
our staff.
It's like, damn, he's a baller. Gotta get the beer photos. You know the drill. Whoa.
Nice.
There we go. Thank you.
As you tell, crisp light lager.
Yep.
It says what it is.
Refreshing.
Yeah.
Easy drinking. 5.2, which is kind of like, I guess, on the slightly higher end of the Mexican lager kind of situation.
Yeah, probably a little bit
high fours.
And we were like one of the early Mexican lager style craft beer breweries.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't know anybody who was doing a Mexican lager before Ska was, and it's been around for a while.
Yeah, it's been over 10 years.
Really?
Easily, yeah.
I feel like I see them. It doesn't happen too often in Canada, but I notice on the West Coast, it's very common.
Yeah,
It's popular now.
It's popular now, but you guys one of the early ones
We were probably the first one.
in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we know that definitely the first one to can
one of
it.
the first ones.
But I feel like as far as making it,
You can let the rest of the world sort that out. We were the first.
They're the first. Prove me wrong. I like that.
That'll light up your comments.
Now we're gonna get angry. Hey, appreciate that. I love it. All right, let's get into the beer stories. Whoever wants to start. Like, how did you get into beer? What's the deal?
Well, I drank a lot of it in high school. Got arrested a couple times even.
As a good growing young man should.
Yeah. And my story is, it's really funny. I actually graduated college with a high school teaching degree.
Nice.
And never
used
I
it?
missed a job. And then I needed a job to fill until the next round came around, and I walked into the brewery and I was like, I don't have a job. I don't know what I'm going to do. And they were like, this guy just quit packaging so you can jump on the line. Back then the line was a lawn chair and some stickers, and I sat there and hand labeled bottles by myself for an hour or two.
That's
And
amazing.
17 years later, I'm here.
That's crazy. Did you
podcast?
in a podcast?
Yeah.
Were you a big beer fan at the time, or was that sort of like
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like a craft beer? Because that's like pretty ahead of the game. Like 17 years ago is.
Yeah, I actually was fans of these guys even. They were just starting up, so I would come over here and hang out. I knew them, from hanging around town. And, it was a small town, so
Okay.
it was pretty easy. Yeah, craft beer was starting to get going, so it was fun.
Right. I mean, was it like when you say starting to get going? Like, I would probably consider that time frame to be within the last 5 years, generally. If you like say nationally or worldwide.
but there was.
But maybe it's earlier in Colorado.
There was a bit of a boom in the 80s and then a bit of a crash in the early 90s. And then 95 when the brewery started, they were starting to come back around, and there were breweries that were sticking around. There was some solid companies in Colorado.
Right.
That were just getting going, that were
pretty well
solid, that are still around today.
Yeah.
Avery, Left Hand, Great Divide, us. A few companies that have managed to be here for the long haul. So
right. Would you say the Colorado was ahead of the game nationally, or even potentially internationally with the craft
it was
beer
ahead of the game.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I started
Florida,
brewing. I started brewing in Florida like 25 years ago.
Oh wow!
And it was really hard to sell what I like to make in Florida at that time because everything was so light, and there was only American lagers around. You make anything dark, people even a wheat beer was crazy back then. So I kind of had to get out of Florida just because of their palate. So the company I was working for way back then, opened up a Cherry Creek store in Denver, and so I transferred with them. They opened a new store, and it was just nice to get to what I thought was a lot better beer culture in Colorado than on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And so I worked for a couple. I was a head brewer for a couple companies on the Front Range, and I worked for the Wincoop Corporation, which is John Hickenlooper's business back then. He was the Wincoop back then was rebuilt basically downtown. So there's this rebuilt Denver, and with that came a whole bunch more breweries too. So
yeah,
and then the Front Range.
What's the Front Range? Sorry,
the Front Range is Denver. It's a corridor. It's the I-25 I-25 corridor in Colorado. That the two biggest towns, Denver and Colorado Springs, are. So that's where the population is. And the colleges are all on the Front Range there. So
Front Range meaning that side of the mountains, right?
So the road is on the end of the mountain range, and then it's Kansas flat. It looks like this, and then also the Front Range.
Right.
So
when we were coming in, we were looking like, why
place.
is everything so flat? Like we don't understand. Like what are these damn mountains about?
They start on that road, but then there's a lot of sprawl in that area and stuff. So I just tried to.
It was definitely It was interesting back then, years ago.
Yeah, Arlo and I have known each other for a long time. From different companies too.
I've always been a scout. He's been around.
We've all gone to the same brew festivals, and we ended up being good buddies because it was a small crew back then.
They were like carnies. We're all carnies.
There was like 12 breweries. It seemed like that were doing it right and going to all the events and stuff. And everyone it was a very tight community back then, and it's still tight. But now there's so many breweries that it's really hard to even know the names of all of them in the towns where I've lived and stuff. Like it's a crazy world compared to back then. But I also think that the beer's better than it was back then. It's evolved. Yeah. Different things. A lot of different techniques have evolved, and back then the internet wasn't the way it is now too. No. So it was more of a word of mouth craft, or you had to be taught by a pro, a master that isn't going to divulge his secrets to the internet and tell everybody his stuff. So, now information has always been shared through brewers very generously, especially in the Colorado group of brewers that we hang out with. But it seemed like it was harder to learn techniques back then than it is now.
Right.
But,
just because of that lack of the sharing of
information,
and
just
people.
There were still the conferences and stuff like that, but it's nothing like it is now.
Right.
Now, you
didn't even have cell phones.
Yeah.
That's true. You just couldn't call up a dude and ask him some problem. Or you had to get on the landline or hope that he would answer while you were standing there going, oh.
There wasn't as much competition back then, so people that had more shitty beer would still sell it. Now the shitty beer goes away real quick, which is nice. But
do you guys? What do you prefer then, as guys who've been in it for so long? Like, what do you prefer? Do you think it was something? There was something lost in the growth?
I don't know.
Getting deep early on.
Well,
I don't know what
I still like pale ales. I always
I still
have
like-
and still do, but I feel
Yeah.
like, I mean, some people just will try to be different and make up some junk that isn't that good. But I mean,
We're talking
I
about
don't know.
I mean, I like, for the most part, I mean, I still like a good IPA, and I mean,
And I think a lot of people went
it's
from
like anything, you know.
in the last 5 years, all these like beers that have a lot, not, I won't say gimmicks, but you know,
The hype.
sourness, fruit, all the things that I'm doing them too. But how everyone, I still like when like we just recently made an Oktoberfest and going back to making a clean traditional lager
Right.
is super.
And it sold super
It's
fast.
super hard to do right. So like the craft of like dialing in something hard and where you can't hide flaws behind sweetness or huge hop amounts or something like that. I really like that people are going back into that world and trying to dial it in instead of always have your ones that are like off the charts. I mean, we have Pink Vapors doing pink beer and stuff like that too, but also make a solid lager. Do something that's hard. You don't have to, and that's what people in breweries, you find yourself going with drinking on the daily basis after work. The more traditional ones, or I do. I go back to the basics.
I've got
The
the
Brewers
Brewers
beer.
as well.
I think that's why we'll get to it it's one of the lightning round questions, but there's always the brewers are always come down to, I would say probably like 80 to 90% of people we speak to always say exactly that. You don't want to work 14 hours sweating your ass off making beer and then give me a 9% double IPA. It's not what you want.
There's times for that though.
There's absolutely what should we go next?
Joe probably.
Well, let's do one of these two. Let's do this lager. Well, let's do this one because this one's a little lighter.
Just did a lager.
So, this is our blonde. Here, I'll let you pour this too.
What was the actual, aside from, I guess there's a little bit of a difference being as lager is lagered and a blonde is an ale.
Right.
Yeah.
What are the other differences technically then between thank you sir, a lager and a blonde?
Well, this is an ale yeast, so this uses 1187, which is a yeast. It puts a little more esters than like fruity esters,
Okay.
and than a lager would. And so I think it balances the malt. There's also some locally sourced honey in this
Okay.
beer too.
That's nice. Okay.
So,
Well, this gives it like a bit of a bonus sweetness.
Yes, this is going to be sweeter than the lagers. You can just barely taste the honey. The honey
breadier.
in there, a little more bready.
Still creamy, like soft.
Yeah.
The honey
Beer.
probably
And it's got-
more as it warms, maybe.
This is one of our oldest beers. This beer is
Yeah.
almost 20, probably
True blond.
22
Oh,
years.
it's true blonde. 23 years old. This
Yeah, this
specific
one's one of
blonde.
our first beers.
And it's been just, I guess, continue. I guess everyone always wanted a blonde, and lagers do take
Yeah, and
take
it's
time
just
and
kind of
stuff
always.
like that.
I feel like at the
It's
beginning of
always just
our
sold,
brewery, it was kind of like,
all ales.
and it's the way that where I found a lot of America and Colorado did in the early part of like 20 years ago was they would start kind of like English style beers, like mostly ales, every color of the of the beer spectrum,
Red,
from a
dark.
blonde to a stout, and then a pale ale, IPA, a blonde,
Like a porter, usually.
Brown.
porter.
Sometimes
That
a
was
brown
the
one,
MO
yeah.
for
That was-
everything
Yeah,
back
we all
then.
did it. We did it. Exactly.
Yeah, I think
A lot of
everybody's
breweries
doing
started
that.
that. Particularly back then, think about it, 23
Yeah.
years ago. I mean, what else would you expect? What else could you do? There
Right.
wasn't
It
really
was-
much else.
it was
Even then, that
trickier.
would have been like,
I mean,
whoa.
And that was pretty exciting,
Those were
compared
the
to
best
drinking
sellers.
Coors Light, Bud Light, Miller
Ambers.
Light.
yeah.
Ambers and blondes were still really good sellers.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
we had our struggles down here. You'd go into the bars and they're like, "We got all the kinds of beer: Coors Light, Bud Light, Miller Light."
Well, I remember when people were starting
They were
to
like, "We
use
got this new beer. Try this."
when you're trying to get people to drink the hoppier beers, like beer with Cascade hops in it.
Yeah.
Back then, that was a big leap for
Yeah.
people to like taste the hoppiness of beer, or even get an aroma out of a beer. Back then was kind of like you had to like rub their back and stuff.
Pretty serious.
Don't be scared.
Come on, it's all right.
Just be calm and carry on.
Now it's the opposite, I guess.
Yeah, now you got to tell people, hey, this is what beers used to taste like.
This is what it used to taste
You're
like.
like, wait, it's only 6% alcohol. You're like, I mean, like a lot of people. I'm not one to always check the alcohol first, but I mean, a lot of people. When I introduce them to a beer,
Yeah.
they all they want to know is the alcohol. I'm like, do you care? I care more about the flavors, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good, like, I mean, because I review them generally, I like to know, because I think it just puts it in perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, like, you are 100% about the flavors, and that is really all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, like, okay, well, this is a 6% IPA versus whatever, it's a double IPA, so then it's 8 or something. And just so you know what you're getting into,
Right.
what to expect, maybe you considering how much you have to drink. Maybe I'm a bit of a lightweight, I want to know if it's 8%, I got to know that.
Well, you know what. But one thing that with the whole alcohol thing is like it's killing the session beer.
Right.
Like the session beers are some breweries put out session beers that were made specifically for flavor, and you know they may not have the alcohol, but they're tuned in just in this nice spot that people aren't buying like they should. Like a lot of breweries, a lot of my friends' breweries, the session gets looked over or dropped because when you go to the bar and you're paying so much money for a 6-pack, you look at the stats. You start looking at stats on the bottle or can, and then you're like, well, this one is a better value for the money. I'm going to go with a higher alcohol. When one that actually you maybe favorite, and all you got to drink is one more, and you're caught up at that little gap.
Right.
And worried about not getting drunk.
Because you can just drink more.
Yeah, I feel like, but the whole ABV thing is killing this really great category in beer, and one that maybe you can drink it all day if you're drinking a session instead of double IPAs. Which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with double IPAs, but you don't have to always. You know, sometimes you can have the poor session beer.
Yeah.
All right, so let's actually get what I want to. Let's talk about like what's the history of ska? Like how did it start? How did it come about? What's the deal?
I can fill that one.
Yeah, you should talk to me.
It started. Well, we have 3 founders: Dave, Matt, and Bill. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here. Sorry. Yeah, they're all busy. You get stuck with us.
Hey, it works.
So Bill and Dave, especially when they were younger in high school, they used to
OCD, I like it.
Oh shit! Did you notice?
Yeah.
Now I have to do
Makes
it.
a good brewer though.
They found one of Dave's dad's homebrewing books when they were in high school. Dave and Bill, they grew up together in Colorado in Golden.
Solid. So it's a grapefruit lager, by the way.
This is basically kind of a version of our Mexican lager with just real grapefruit added.
Love it.
So it's got just a nice, refreshing flavor to it.
Yeah. And how do you like the aroma?
It's fantastic. It's actually like I hate the artificial fruit. Like just put the real stuff in, you can tell that it's not artificial. It's
When this went through a lot of iterations, coming to where it is now, and like we had tried to take the easy way out and do experiments in the Mod Brewery, which we have here, which is a small, small 3.5 barrel brewing system. And with using extracts and stuff, we couldn't come close to doing it the right way.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So we used to use real grapefruit, which is nice. It's even better.
It's perfect.
So Dave and Bill found the homebrew book. It was this old dingy notebook, and they didn't know, like, they thought they were just goofy high school kids. They were just like, so where do you dump the alcohol in? They just thought you just dumped it in. And then there was like a fermentation process and stuff. And they were buying like bread yeast at the store, you know, and like making prison beer and stuff. So basically, and then, you know, because they just wanted to get drunk. They were in high school. So then their skills got better, and they used to homebrew, and they always just like listening to ska, and they always felt that it tasted better when ska was playing. So as they kept going, they would give beers away at Christmas and time and stuff, and they would be like from Ska Brewing and Bill's Kitchen. And then as they got over in 95, they found some old dairy tanks out in Grand Junction area, and got a small loan from Bill's dad, and then kicked it off in the building just down the way.
Right.
And then...
And that was 1995?
Yeah.
Crazy.
And then it's just been going from there.
Amazing. So it's
And then we moved to this building like 10 years ago, I think now.
I think it's been
About 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore that would make Ska one of the first breweries in the town, in the state.
In the town, we were not, because we had
No.
Carver's Brewing, which is one of the oldest breweries in the state, and they're from like 89, I think.
Okay.
89.
Yeah, real.
So we were one of the earlier ones.
Right.
Yeah, we definitely early. We were early on.
And has that come through? Has it? What's changed over the years? Would you guys say as far as like from what you were in the 90s? I'm sure. Like I know clearly the beer, as we were saying, like the beer scene has changed.
Yeah.
The drinkers, what they want has changed.
We don't trash as many hotel rooms.
Yeah, there's rules. Oh, there's rules. Yeah, there's some rules.
This is trash.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
The Cowboys still have a reputation, though.
Yeah,
A good reputation for
Yeah.
fun.
for fun.
Fun
We try to
bucks.
work hard and play hard. That's kind of the rules.
Yeah.
That's really never changed.
Okay.
I mean, it's not uncommon to see us out mountain biking and then showing up at the bar that night. Or
Yeah, we
anything
still
like that.
Yeah, and those guys still like to party, like just like they did back in the day. The owners.
I mean, it was kind of. You just had to make a name for yourself, so we just decided to do it a little rowdier.
Hey, fair enough. That kind of comes through in the branding. To be honest. It feels rowdy to me.
At the time, there was nothing like this. I mean,
Yeah.
when we were doing the bottles, and you can see some of the earlier artwork in here.
Yeah.
Sorry for all you folks at home, but
So listening.
when we were doing bottles, that's some of our early artwork. That's how we were designing it, and we had tattoo artists drawing it. And
Nice. Looks kind of cartoony.
If you even read
comic.
like one of those, maybe it's the pinstripe one on the wall there, and like maybe it says like Dave's like just fucking change this. He writes on the paper, and so we did some wilder stuff, and it was pretty funny. Skulls and stuff at the time in 95 in Colorado, that was nuts. People were like, your stuff's too edgy. We don't want to put it in our bar. And we were like,
Really, eh?
okay, whatever. And then we fixed all that.
You got rid of the skulls?
No, we just
No?
waited until they got smarter.
That's the way to go. Okay, so what's the what was the this? You know how some breweries would focus on Belgian style beers and some do trendy stuff. Blah blah blah. Did Ska have a? Did they start out making
English style ales.
English style? Okay.
Yeah, they were all English. We had a blonde ale, a pinstripe red amber ale, a stout, porter, a brown and a porter basically, and then the blonde, and then obviously we would do we started moving into IPAs. And actually, we were probably a little later to the IPA game. We were kind of just like.
But when you did release the Modus, it was a big,
It was a game
big
changer.
resiny
Yeah.
IPA. Yeah,
What is it now?
it's similar, but it was like big and
Bigger
in
than
your
anybody
face,
else's.
and
Right.
lots
A lot
of
of people
dry
caught up.
hops and stuff like that. Thought that was a good move that we made back then.
So that kind of went with the brand. If the guy's rowdy and everything, you went what the beer's going to punch you in the face too.
And to be honest, if you reach over there,
Yes.
we have the whole brewery started as a whole comic book, like the story. With
Really?
Ska Brewing. They had kind of handwritten this, and it took us about 20 years to get this done, but just
Then they got it
money-wise.
done.
So yeah, the whole story is Ska Brewing is this little brewery in the town of Durango, and we're fighting Rot Guts and Beer, which is AB.
The big brewery.
Yeah, we're rolling, and they're rolling our brewing, and the true blonde girl, she's the secretary, but then she's the heroine of the story, and there's a whole story here and we're in the process of writing up another one, but it takes us a while. And so, so
That's
this
awesome.
is out. We
Yeah,
don't have. We
beer
just
on
had a few copies, but so all of our labeling and marketing is usually tied with the comics. So, this guy, on the Modus is that's the pinstripe red guy, and that's his two henchmen.
Right.
And so our pinstripe red ale, which I don't have here, unfortunately, is one of those labels back there. It's one of our early cans.
It's also there.
Yeah, this one as
guy.
well, and True Blonde, and the porter was the Tin Pin Bowling Alley.
Right.
Fortunately, we had to kill the porter; it just was not
Wasn't working?
But we had it for a long time. But then we loved it. So the Mexican lager had its own side story. They tried to tunnel Rot Guts in under the border, and they went to sharpen their tools, and he fought them off with his chainsaws. So we have
serious.
we get a little creative.
They ain't messing around.
So yeah, we've got all that going on. You know, we probably should have led with that, but we get going.
No, we got there. You mentioned the bowling thing. I forgot. So there's something else about you guys as well. Like, I mean, clearly you've gone to, you know, the fun branding. Sort of, you know, like, you know, whether it was crazy as beers for the time that have kind of the way things have gone. Like, kind of how it just keeps getting more and more ridiculous every day.
Yeah.
Like something else, the bowling. You actually got, like, you're doing a lot of what's the word? Like, you're reusing.
We repurposed the bowling alley. We made tables out of it and stuff like that.
And the bar downstairs. Yeah,
bars
we love
made of the
like,
bowling alley.
Yeah, this is so cool.
I mean, as rowdy as we are, we definitely care about where we live, and
Yes.
we're definitely way into, you know, environmentally sound products. You know, the brewery's fully solar.
Yes.
And there's a screen down there. You can see how much energy we're producing. We buy wind power. All the stains on the floor are all environmentally safe. The insulation is all ground up Levi's.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
the
we repurpose
shipping-
bowling alleys and
shipping
the shipping
containers.
containers for the restaurant. You know, it's as best as we can to even like the railing out there is old like pipe from the oil and gas companies around here. So we do our best to like reuse as much as we can.
It's very cool. Where'd that come
That's
from?
important. Oh, I think that's just important. The owners are very, very into that, and I think the whole company is. Most people are very keen on that being a big part of our life.
That's the Colorado thing.
Out here.
Yeah, like we have a bike maintenance station, so you can you know, and all this stuff to get people to like clean commute here and stuff like that. We bought a trolley too that we're going to end up shuttling people around into, so people don't have to drive or use their cars to come here.
Yeah. So anything. Yeah, I mean, it's just the right thing to do.
No, totally. It's awesome. I mean, not everyone thinks
Donald.
like that, though. Are we going to go there? We can go there.
No, we don't go there, but that's as far as we'll go.
Boys, thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you, man.
That was fun.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a lot. Thank you so much. Where can we find Ska Brewing online? We did this before.
www.skabrewing.com.
Yes, skabrewing.com.
And social media? Come on.
At Ska Brewing.
At Ska
At Ska
Brewing.
Brewing.
At Ska Brewing on all of it.
Do you want anyone to follow you guys individually, or it's just, you know?
I'm Ska Brew Arlo on all of it, like Instagram
Everything?
and Twitter and Facebook, all that stuff. So,
Perfect.
or
I don't have a
Grammatica.
I really don't have social media.
You know what? You're worried about the beer, and that's where we want your attention.
He's off the world.
That's it.
I ain't got time for that. I gotta go snowboarding.
Mountains. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. If you enjoyed the episode, smash the thumbs up, hit subscribe below, and hit the notification bell so you know when the new episodes drop. Follow us on social media at BAOS Podcast, and check out the long form audio so you can hear extraordinarily attractive gentlemen like these two right here talk about craft beer and mountains.
And hilarious.
And hilarious. That's when I'm gonna start adding that one in. I might have multiple adjectives.
Yeah.
No, start doing 3. Okay, I'll work on it. Talk about all the good stuff. Follow us on Spotify. We're out there. Apple Podcasts, rate, review, subscribe. You know the deal. Thanks again, guys. Cheers.
Hello.
Nice.